What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. It's a beautiful day, absolutely beautiful sunny day here in Australia, and I thought let's take some time out to talk about 2024, 2025. A massive thank you to all of you guys for subscribing in 2024. We've just passed 25,000 subscribers. That is huge. I never in my wildest dreams imagined we would get that far as a channel, and there's a long way to go. Upwards, onwards, you name it. But today is all about 2025. What are we gonna do? We've got a garage full of beautiful custom superbikes. Something needs to happen with them. And then we need to do some more builds. So let's get into it. Now, you probably want the biggest news first. And I know you've all been asking for this, you've all been waiting for this. I've been hearing it in the comments, please do a road bike. And I've been listening. And I was almost gonna do that, and I may still, with the R1, but that is what's happening next. So for anyone wondering, no, we're not strictly gonna build track bikes on this channel. We are going to diversify. Yeah, that's a word, isn't it? Yeah. And we're gonna build a road bike. And not just any road bike, we're gonna build a stinking, smoking hot, flaming hot road bike that just looks sick. And as long as it passes inspection, that's all I'm really worried about. So first things first, we're gonna have a look at what we've got. So in this corner, it's not a boxing match, but in this corner, I've got my 2020 Panigale V2. Beautiful, beautiful bike. It took me a lot of hard work to build this bike, and it's got a massive amount of gear on it. Look, I think all up, this bike cost me around $20,000 to build. It was not a cheap bike. Could have even been 21,000. A little bit windy here, sorry guys. But it's absolutely fantastic. I've been on track with it, and it's just an absolute beautiful, beautiful bike. It just holds its line. It is just tailored for racing and track work. And it's just got everything on it. Like I could spend 30 minutes just going through the list of upgrades we've done. But look, primarily it's got an SC Project system. It's got full YSS race gear on it, front and back. It's got a custom livery, which I painted myself. So that's the Ferrari Grigio alloy and Ferrari Medina yellow theme. A full brake upgrade with the Brembos and the RC19 Corsa Quarter. So it's got all that, it's got all the switch gear. Anyway, I'm not gonna go into a full list. This bike is sensational. I'm gonna start that up for you guys shortly, just so you can hear it. It is probably the second best sounding bike I've ever had. The best sounding bike I ever had was my RS V4 RF 2017. I'll see if I can find a clip, I'll put it up here. Amazing. Anyway, the next bike is our 2022 S1000RR M spec. So not only is it M spec, it has got pretty much everything you can see, except from a couple of parts on the front here, is carbon fiber. And I think I added it all up. The person that actually bought most of this carbon fiber, or probably 50% of this carbon fiber, probably dropped about 17 grand on carbon fiber, Ilmberger carbon fiber. The rest of it I've done myself with mostly RPM carbon, pretty good stuff. But this bike's had it all thrown at it as well, and both these bikes are potentially going to be sold. So this has got a lot of stuff on it. It's probably not as racy as this bike. This bike is full track. This bike, I think I went a little bit wrong with it. I think I went a little bit too glam. And I think that's the reason why potentially it's going to be really hard to sell. But it is set up for track work, and it's got a mountain full of goodies on it, including all of the race switch gear, all the race components in terms of the adjustable rear sets and full upgrade braking system. You name it, this bike got it. And it is a beautiful, beautiful bike to ride, like an absolute delight on track. And power, well, I'll put a link up in the top right hand corner here of the screen of the dyno test we did on this bike, and very, very controversial. It got a shit ton of power. A lot of people were questioning that. Hey look, all dynos are different, but it is what it is. So it's got a lot of power. I think around about 210 at the wheel on that, and on this one we got 151 fully tuned, and I've also changed the gearing on this now as well, so it'll be even better. Nothing worse than sticking with road gearing. Our third and final bike, which we only just finished, is actually this. This is our absolutely stunning MY 2023, which is a 11th, so November 2022 build, R1. Now you can't get R1s anymore, so these are very, very special bikes. I mean, if you want an R1 now, you've literally got to buy the track bike off Yamaha. And we've thrown a fair bit at this as well. I'm not going to go into full costing, but let's just say this is actually one of my cheapest bikes. I think it's currently sitting at 17,700. And there's a very small chance we're going to do something different with this bike, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But this bike is absolutely beautiful. It's got the Chevy Corvette blue. It's got the Medina yellow as well, the same as that yellow, because I just love that yellow. I paint these bikes myself, by the way, just so you know. I'm getting better at painting. It's got full maxi carbon set up on it. It's got a brake upgrade as well, so we've got full Brembos with the RC Corsa Quarter. You name it, it's got all the switchgear upgrades, just carbon fiber everywhere, full pro fiber racing fairing with a pro fiber seat, MRA racing screen, absolutely stunning. And yeah, that's just well, I will say it's almost a work of art. It's just a beautiful, beautiful bike, and I would love to be able to keep it. But let's talk about plans. In a nutshell, we have three absolutely beautiful bikes here, but I can't keep them all. One, I've got a double garage and it's just not big enough. Two, I need to do more builds, so I need to sell one of these puppies to finance another build. Now, here's the problem, here's the conundrum. And I know what you're thinking some stupid rich dude from the suburbs. I'm not. Everything I've done has been hard graft, so you can question that as much as you want, but this is all a lot of hard work to get to where I am now. So, sell one bike is the idea, pay for another build, and that build will be a street build. But that means if I sell the R1, we can't do a street build with the R1. Now the R1 came in at, I think, $3,100 to do a street conversion. So I would sell a few of the parts that I put on it, a few of the race parts, including that pre-painted fairing, and $3,100. So if I sold the fairing, maybe 1,500 bucks total, I'd still need about another 1,600, maybe 1,700 total to finish the build. So that's an option. I'm pricing it up at the moment. A very good friend of mine works for Yamaha, so I'm gonna see if we can do some sort of deal on that, because that's an option. I'm gonna run you through another 3 or 4 options I've got as well for road bike builds, and we're gonna have a look at that. And you guys are gonna get the chance to vote on those as well. So I'm gonna put a post up on my community page, and you guys can vote at the end of this as to which bike you think I should do and I should get. Next choice is the Beamer. Can't go on the road. It's just what's called a statutory write-off, a salvage title in Australia. But I could actually just sell that. So I could sell that for around about 20 grand. The same as the Panigale, I could probably sell that for around about 19, 20 grand as well. Because let's face it, I only need one track bike. So one of these has to go. But let's do a quick startup and then we'll talk about what other road bikes that I could try and buy at the moment. Okay, here we go, the Pani. It takes a little bit to kick over because it's got so many deletes on it. You know, AIS, EVAP, everything. That bike sounds awesome. What did I tell you? I said second best sounding bike ever after the RSV4. This one should actually pick up a little bit quicker. There's not as many deletes on this. It's just an easier bike to start. Hopefully it's all charged up. I don't know if you can hear that lumpiness, but it didn't sound like that before we tuned it. It's only after we've tuned it where it started to feel that, almost like it's had its cams done or something. It just feels that lumpy, anyway, it's awesome. I'm not gonna start the R1, you've heard that before if you've actually seen it. Plus, I'll be brutally honest, I think I've done something with the wiring on the switchgear. I need to fix it, and that way it'll start better. So I don't want to look like a fool starting something that doesn't start. So yeah, anyway, moving on. Now we're going to talk about what options we've actually got. And we've got, I think, roughly 3 options that I can look at straight away. I've got the R1, which I can put back on the road, around about 3 grand, 1,700 after, if I can sell that fairing. Number 2, there's a 1098S Street Fighter for sale at the moment. I reckon I can pick up for around a little bit less than asking price, and I could do a full custom 1098S Street Fighter build. I think it's an 09S model, so it's got all the full Öhlins package on it. It's got the dry clutch. We could take advantage of all of those things and do a fully unique Street Fighter, original Street Fighter. And I'm talking yellows and blacks and grays and maybe even tints of white in there as well, and just throw every performance part at it we can think of, every bling part at it that we can think of, bring it back to its natural beauty and just do something phenomenal with that bike. So that's one possibility. Number 2 is there's a 999S up for auction this week, and it's got one of the old Xerox takeoff, I think it's like an aftermarket Chinese fairing on it. It's not the carbon fairing like the R, but that's a beautiful bike as well. And it's listed as a salvage title, but not actually listed, if that makes sense. Basically, it means that you can buy it and you can rebuild it without having to pass inspection. So there's no inspection required for this bike. And I think I can pick it up for an absolute steal. I'm talking maybe $4,000. I think I'll throw a few $1,000s in it, do this beautiful, beautiful version of a 999S. With, you know, heaps of carbon, heaps of bling, really just do that bike justice. They come with that awesome exhaust out the back. I just love that massive, big, fat undertail exhaust. And I've always wanted one since 2003 when a friend of mine in London had one, and I saw him going down the motorway on one wheel doing a mono. And I was like, damn, one day I'm gonna get one of those bikes. Another option I've got is there's a ZX10. ZX10R is not the double R, it's a single R, so I'm not 100% sure I'm sold on the uniqueness of that bike, but it is going to auction. It goes to auction, I think, tomorrow or the next day, so I've got to be quick. And chances are this video will go out after that, so I might even have had it by then, I don't know, but that's the ZX10R. It's pretty modern. I think it's the 2021 model. Not bad. I think it's done around about 7,000 or 8,000 Ks as well. So yeah, there's a few options. So there's 2 Ducatis, a Yamaha, being the R1, which I've already got, which kind of makes sense that if I was going to build a bike, wouldn't it be easier to do one that I've already got? But then again, that's not as fresh for the channel, so who knows? And then there's the Kawasaki. So they're my options. They're the 4 options I'm going to put in my community tab on YouTube. So make sure you go there and vote. As soon as I drop this video, I'm going to drop that post as well, and you can go and vote for that. But that's around about it for the bikes and what I'm thinking of doing. I just wanted to say thank you again. 25,000 subscribers. Our next milestone, I'm going to be bold. I'm going to say 100,000, because if I'm going to keep doing this, I've just got to go all in. It's got to be proper. And I think a road bike build is what's going to get us up to that numbers. So stay tuned, like, subscribe. You know the drill. Thanks for watching so far.